Welcome to Salesology, conversations with sales leaders, the art of faster, easier, more profitable sales. When you're ready to transform your sales for today's transforming market, we've got you covered with your host, the queen of cold calling and founder of Salesology, award-winning author, speaker, sales trainer, and coach, Wendy Weiss.
Hi, welcome to Salesology, conversations with sales leaders, the art of faster, easier, more profitable sales. And I'm your host, Wendy Weiss. I am the founder of Salesology and the Salesology Prospecting Method. And I am also known as the Queen of Cold Calling. Today, my very, very special guest is Gosia FitzGerald, who is a co-founder of OnePageCRM. OnePageCRM is an action-oriented CRM tailored for small businesses. It has an innovative approach which seamlessly combines simplicity and productivity. And I'm gonna hold Gosia's feet to the fire about that because I think those are two very important elements. OnePageCRM has garnered recognition, including being featured in Forbes as a simple CRM packed with features. That is a direct quote. And she brings over 15 years of entrepreneurial experience, and her passion of getting things done drives her commitment to optimizing workflows and achieving tangible results. So welcome, Gosia.
Thank you very much, Wendy. I'm so excited to be here, and on top of everything, talking about CRM, which is my passion. It's really, I'm delighted about it. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, I am so excited that you're here because I think this topic is simply so very important. So before we jump into it, though, I want to know the backstory. How did you come to be a co-founder of OnePageCRM?
Absolutely. So our story started about 17 years ago when we were running a small business. Small business is something I'm really familiar with. Most of my professional career was within the small business, and I understand how entrepreneurs or business owners have to multitask a lot, grow the team, working on different projects and so on. So all those aspects are very familiar to us. And at the time when we were running our business, we really needed a sales tool in order to help us sell, basically, because we believed without sales, you can't really run a successful business. And when it came to it and we started looking at the offering of the market, at the time, there wasn't really a suitable solution for SMBs that would be agile, that would be really something that would help us to increase our sales. And Michael, my husband, who run the business together with me, we said, okay, well, he's an inventor and his background is engineering, but he's actually first passion is inventing. So he said, I'm going to create a software that will help me sell because I really need something that will support the growth of the company. And that's how we started. And so we built first and foremost a solution for ourselves. And then we gave ourselves 3 months to develop that solution. We didn't really want to dwell too much. We want to test it very quickly. And after 3 months, we released a first MVP, which stands for minimum viable product, that had a core functionality of the CRM that would help small business sell. And we tested it in our business, and then we opened that to a wider network and asking our future customers for feedback, how it works for them and what we can do better. And since then, we just grew and developed the product further.
Hey, I love that. And so I'm going to ask you some very basic questions. First, what does CRM stand for?
CRM, it stands for Customer Relationship Management. So it's a really important tool for a business that basically encapsulates all the contacts that you might be selling to or dealing with. And it's a central place where you put all your information about the contacts, all your interactions, maybe all the notes about meetings that you might have had, all the agreements, brochures, quotes that you send, everything should be in one place, centralized. So anybody at any time can have access to it and basically can develop and nurture a relationship that would lead to a successful sale.
So why does a small business need a CRM? I have so many, I hear from so many small business owners that will say to me, well, we've got everything. We're good. We're on an Excel spreadsheet. Or they'll say, well, we've got our accounting software. So we're using, we're just using that. We're good. So why CRM and not some of these other tools?
I think that CRM for a small business is even more important than for a larger company, because when you run a small business, you have such a limited resources. So you can't really afford not to have a system that have everything in one place and where you can tap onto it and basically grow from the data that you have gathered. So when you think about it, if you decide to go with without the system at all, obviously every system wants to have accounting because it's very important. You have to send your invoices, you have to do your financial reports. But yet, if you don't have a sales, you don't really have business. So first and foremost, in order to have a successful business and to scale it, you need to generate revenue. And for that reason, I think if anybody is ever considering a CRM for their company, I think that CRM has to support the growth of the business and has to boost their sales. So that's the main thing.
So Gosia, what are the problems that can be caused by not having a CRM?
In the small business where there's so much to do, you can actually notice that without the proper support of a technology and having a proper tool, after certain maybe number of interactions and number of data that it's very hard to store in someone's head, step by little by little, a sales chaos starting to creep into a business, and that's caused by multiple different factors. So, for example, it could be caused by maybe busy admin allergic owners. So at the beginning of when the business is growing, a lot of business owners are tasked with making sales, with doing sales. And yet, while they could be passionate about their product that they sell or the service, and they could be very good in sales, the one thing that they don't really do very well is this admin bit that needs to be really done. You really need to keep the record of your sales, what has been agreed, what needs to be delivered, and when. But yet the busy business owners, they don't have time for it, and a lot of things will be falling between the cracks, and maybe not being so busy with dealing with lots of numbers of different clients. It actually causes a lack of follow-up, a proper follow-up when you need to do it. So, and when you don't follow up, you lose sales. So I can actually share my personal story. What happened last year? We were in our house. Actually, we had a situation when our house is kind of very warm and overheats. And we were looking for a solution how to stop that issue. So we reached out to a company that was producing some coating on the windows. And we had an initial call with this company. We received the samples of what would be like when we covered our big window panes. And then the sales rep also traveled to see the house and to prepare the quote and seal the deal, if that's what we thought. But after, a few weeks of receiving the quote and we were ready to go, we never got this final phone call that, okay, are you ready to go? Are you willing to go with this company? And I was quite surprised, but it wasn't really, I didn't feel that it was my role to follow up with the salesman, even though I was willing to go with the company. And after a few weeks, when the sunshine kind of went away and the summer has passed, the urgency of that sale really went away from us. So we were not interested anymore in pursuing this solution. So you can see that lack of follow-up, it can really cost you lost revenue and lost sales. So that's very important, that the small business cannot afford not to have a tool in place where it's something that doesn't actually help them. Okay, store the information, record what needs to be done, and have the next action scheduled and in place. And that reminds them, okay, today is the day when you actually have to make so many phone calls, and you promise that person that you meet them, and then just you have to go and do it. So there are some problems in small business where the large amount of data is being accumulated, and it's just too much for any human being to remember everything. So you need to kind of alleviate yourself from this mental burden and put it in some trusted system, which basically allows you to focus on some different activities like selling, okay? Or, we don't really want the business owners to be busy with updating a CRM while they should be busy with making these activities that led them to close the sales.
Yeah, there is nothing worse than having a great opportunity fall apart because you didn't follow up. And also I can give a couple of personal examples of why it's really important to have a good, easy to use CRM. Two examples. One, a couple of years ago, I was using something that was really complicated. I talked to a great prospect, and I just didn't have time to put my notes in because it was so complicated, and I had to go do something else. So I never put my notes in. So a couple of weeks later, I called the same prospect, except I didn't know I'd already talked to him because I didn't put my notes in. And he was really pissed off at me. He did not want to do business with me. And I just blew what might have been a great opportunity just because this software that I was using, it was so complicated. And I just didn't have time to do it. So I didn't do it. Second example, a number of years ago, now we're going back about 8 years, we were using two different pieces of software, one for my business development person and one for me. And what ended up happening was we both called the same prospect on the same day. And when I finally got hold of him later on, he was also kind of annoyed with me because we appeared to be just kind of bozos because we were both calling him like every other day. It should have only been one of us calling him. And that was just because we didn't have one piece of software, one CRM that we were using that would keep us both organized and not calling the same prospect over and over again, two of us. So those are two real life examples from me. Don't do this.
I know, and it's actually quite unfortunate that you actually pick the same customer or the same prospect the same day. And to be honest, what people might not realize that it really impacts the reputation of the company as well. And as you said, that person wasn't at all happy with having a conversation maybe with the two of you, and that would cause that we might not recommend you, or we could actually even make the comment about this company, oh my God, we're just not sure if they really know what they're doing. So in order to avoid it, CRM is really essential. So you can actually communicate within the CRM or assign tasks to the rest of your team. So the way I look at it, the CRM is not only for salespeople, to close sales, but after that sales deal has been sealed, you can still use the CRM for delivery or even customer support. OnePageCRM, actually, we use our own solution for customer service and customer support. And I can honestly say we wouldn't be able to do without it, to be honest, because it's a place where all the emails are, stored in one place where we have the full history of interactions, what had happened. Even if a customer comes back to us, oh, but like last month or last even year, you can say, oh, like you promised me this and this. And we say, well, our facts say something else. And you can actually, you have a support that you have recorded everything in relation to a customer. So taking notes is really, really essential, because you never know where you might need to go back in the history and see, maybe check the facts on and things like that. And of course, you don't want to be wasting time. You said that obviously you and your colleague were not in sync, and while you could actually spending your time on a different prospect, two of you were, talking to the same company, to the same person. So it's just important to have that alignment with the team members, and just divide your responsibilities and who is dealing with who. And it's really helpful. But also in cases if you need to step in and someone is maybe not available, or you have your client on the line and they're asking for the update, what's happening with their current delivery, you can actually quickly just go into a CRM and you have all the information in front of you, and you'll be able to inform the customers right there and then what's happening. So without delays, without causing stress, without wasting time on checking the emails. So that's really, it's really essential to kind of look after your customers very well. We have customers that actually use the CRM in order to sustain their growth. One of our users is actually selling the this kind of end zone cameras for the instant replay. So it's applied in the sports training and so on. And they've been growing so quickly, and they found that it was totally chaotic the way they were actually treating the customers and how they were delivering their product. So when they came across OnePageCRM, it was really lifesaver for them, because, as you said, some CRMs can be quite complicated when you actually trying them out. But with OnePageCRM, because it's very intuitive and it's very like an email interface. So anybody who works in the email on a daily basis will be familiar with OnePageCRM and can hit the ground running straight away. So there isn't a big investment on training or maybe employing a third party to explain the features of how it works. So within a day, you can actually become quite comfortable using OnePageCRM, because it's like your second nature, as if you were sending emails from your mailbox. So yeah. I think it's very, very important to choose a solution that works for you. And being a small business owner, you don't really want to take on a burden of big system that sometimes people feel, oh, I need this holy grail that looks after all the areas of the business functions. But before, by the time you implement it, and the money spent on basically customization, it never works very well. So my advice would be to start small and make sure that you immediately, or as soon as possible, you get benefits, you reap the benefits from using a CRM, rather than spending time on customization and training. If you're already at that point, you kind of waste your time. It's an investment probably spent in the wrong direction.
Well, give me your take on this, Gosia, because it seems to me that a small business owner, and I am a small business owner, we need to focus on the goal in mind. We need to focus on, what is it that we are trying to execute? And if you are a business owner and you are selling, or you have a team that's selling, what is it you want them to be doing? Well, you want them to be talking to prospects. You want them to be speaking with customers. You want them to be reaching out about new opportunities, not spending weeks trying to learn some really complicated software, or having to log enormous amounts of data that could just as easily be logged by somebody else. You want your salespeople, or you want yourself, if you're the business owner and you're selling, you want to be in action. And that's one of the things that I really like about OnePageCRM, because you designed it for action. And could you speak a little bit, because I was looking at your website, and you were I was reading about how there are two different kinds of CRM. There's like a admin focused type CRM, and then there's an action focused CRM. And what is the difference?
Absolutely. It's really important that the CRM works for you, and how you select the CRM. It's really a win or lose for a business. So, and the scale of the CRM offerings, I think the last time I checked was about 1,500 or even more CRMs. So it's very hard to get the feel from all of them. But if we were to simply categorize them, at the bottom of that pyramid, they are the really simple solutions. So a lot of people, if they're not big technology fans, they might just use pen and paper, and that's fine until you have to scale. Or for more advanced, some people are big fans of Excel spreadsheets, which they work fine, up to a point. There's very low learning curve. You can input a lot of information into it, and yet it has no structure. So after a while, you might find that there's a lot of information, but it's very hard to pull out some information that really matters, or even update your, add your newest notes to Excel spreadsheet, because it's already out of control. And maybe if multiple people are working on the same spreadsheet, they cause additional havoc, because they're adding notes in places where they're not supposed to, or maybe they're breaking some formulas, or I don't know else. But, after a while, it doesn't work. It doesn't grow with the business. And maybe some people say, okay, well, if I'm not going for an Excel spreadsheet, let's go for a really complicated solution. And they might just go for this top of the range enterprise solution that it's quite expensive, to be honest, because it usually it relates to a big user controls. So in the big system for the big companies, what you have, you need to ensure that there's a limited visibility for different users of the CRM, and that's expensive. And on top of it, there's a big learning curve. People just find it's just not as easy to use, and then after a while, they just decide, well, I'm not going to actually use any CRM at all. Like, it doesn't work. I've tried it, and I'm better off just using my head and working from email. And that's not a good approach. You just probably didn't find the right CRM for you. So what you want to really for your business is something in the middle of it all, that it's simple to use and it has no learning curve, as I said. But on top of it, what you don't only want a CRM. I think what we created for SMB, for considering our own needs, was go a step further to combine CRM and productivity together. And how it works, it's simple, as you said, when the sales don't happen on its own until you pick up that phone, you make the phone call, you send an email, and you follow up. So how do you ensure that the CRM has that functionality to force you to do this? And it's not easy. CRMs could be that big phone book where you have all your contact details and your assets. But as with the phone book, like, how do you start selling? What is the most important client that you need to touch base with? So this is where next action comes in. In OnePageCRM, it's all about taking actions. So the central point, the central dashboard of OnePageCRM, when somebody comes in the morning and starts work, it's you actually faced with your to-do list. So you have contacts, and with every contact, there's a action associated, what you need to do today or tomorrow, all your upcoming actions. And this is inspired by productivity methodology called Getting Things Done. So it's GTD, and it has been developed by David Allen. And what it stands for, basically, it's all about capturing of all the tasks that you need to do, let's say in sales now, when we talk about sales, and putting it into a trusted system, and then organize it and prioritize it appropriately so you can focus on what matters the most in any given time. And it sounds very simple, but yet you have to put in the context of the CRM when you have a lot of information. So how do you expose that next action, what needs to be done? So that's one thing. Every contact, or most of them at least, should have actionable task associated with them, and that send that email and that follow-up should be exposed to you. So when somebody starts their day, you don't really want to waste time on planning, what I need to do, because before you know it, 1 hour could be gone, and that's a really important time where you could actually have 3 phone calls, you could close the deal. So what you want to have that plan already done in the past. And this is when the timing of scheduling comes in. So in OnePageCRM, it's what we're trying to do is after you complete a next action for your current contact that you're working with, we ask you, do not move away to the next one. Do not be tempted to, okay, I sent that email, I'm going to move on to the next one because I need to make that call. No, before you move on to the next contact, spend that 5-10 seconds and schedule your next action. Because when you send that email, okay, in 2 days' time, I need to follow up. So this is the best time to schedule that action and then move on to your contact. So you constantly building your to-do list while you are working with your clients or with your contacts. So it's not, rather than starting your day with the morning with preparing a plan, that plan has already been formalized while you were working on the previous actions. So this way, there's no hesitation what needs to be done. You just come in, start your day, and you're executing the actions. And the more actions you complete, that leads to, having sales, closing sales. And then in the end, you just grow your business. That's the main goal of it. I think you agree with me? What do you think about it?
I absolutely agree with you. And I love the simplicity, and I love that it's focused on taking action. And I actually have a whole bunch of questions for you about OnePageCRM. We're going to pause right now for a word from our sponsor, but then when I come back, I'm going to hold your feet to the fire with more questions about OnePageCRM. So now, a word from our sponsor, the Salesology Vault. Just about every guest that I've interviewed on the Salesology Conversations with Sales Leaders podcast has had a free gift for our listeners, and that does include Gosia FitzGerald, the co-founder of OnePageCRM. Gosia has a free gift for all of our listeners. And what we've done is we've taken all of those gifts and we put them all in one place just for you. We call it the Salesology Vault, and it's packed full of free gifts from sales leaders, sales experts, marketing gurus, revenue generation experts, and we add another gift every single week. We release a podcast every Monday, and every Monday when we release the podcast, we add a gift. So you can log in as often as you'd like. You can download as many gifts as you'd like. It's all free. Go to bit.ly/gift vault, or as soon as you finish listening to this podcast, the link to the Salesology Vault is in the show notes. Go to the notes, click on the link, download your gifts. You will be glad you did. So I am back with my special guest, Gosia FitzGerald, co-founder of OnePageCRM. And I do have a couple of questions for you, Gosia, about OnePageCRM. So let's start right at the beginning. I want to use OnePageCRM. And I'm kind of a techno moron, which is true. So how long is it going to take me to learn this?
I think even for a person who's not comfortable with technology, it shouldn't take long, because the whole idea of creating the whole user interface was to make it as familiar as it is with email. So we actually say from the minute you create the trial and you start using the application from within and creating, it's very easy to create you add the new contact and add a note, or even connect your email. So I'd say within 1 hour, you'll be ready to go. That's my
1 hour, not weeks, 1 hour.
Well, even if you need more than 1 hour for the simple, basic usage, we have plenty of support available to you. So starting from webinars where we demo all the features that are really important at the beginning, but I think I always advise people, just go and try for yourself and see how it feels. There's always possibility to delve deeper, but that first impression is kind of a little bit like if you like somebody, you kind of create that first impression within, I think 7 seconds. So it's a little bit like with tools. Like I like tools myself, and I go and trial different options, and I can basically say within 5 minutes is this tool for me or not. So I don't think you really need to spend weeks and weeks figuring out, is this something for you? Give it a couple of days. It's important, obviously, to be serious about it and trying to make it work for your business. So once you kind of go over the first hurdle, I say, okay, well, this is simple enough. I think I can use it. I can actually implement it within the rest of the team, and we can actually figure it out how we can communicate through the CRM and just to make the whole experience more efficient for the team. And I think companies that are in the position that they know something is not working and they know exactly they could do with some help, they would be willing to give it a go. So with the help of our support team or webinar online resources, we actually have an sales academy available for people that want to get more familiar with the CRM. And it's divided between, from the beginners to advanced users. So you can really, pace yourself. If you really want to kind of go and get familiar with the basic features, start at the beginner level and then grow from there. I think what I heard was that majority of tools, they offer a lot of features, a lot of kind of solutions within the tool, but most of the users, they only use between 5 to 10% of the features. So it's not really needed for us to get to know the application inside out, but really get to know the features that really help us to achieve results. I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, one of the things that I hear frequently from clients talking about their salespeople is that the salespeople either won't use the CRM or don't use it correctly. And when that business owner wants to implement something new, everything kind of stops because everybody has to learn this new thing, and it's generally quite complicated. So one of the things that I do really like about OnePageCRM is the idea that you can get started like in an hour, even if you're not really great at, technology or get a little intimidated. It's not complicated. And I also really like that it is designed with the end in mind. In the end, as a business owner, or if you have a sales team, you want your team, you want to be talking to prospects, you want to be talking to customers so that you can grow your sales. And that's really the bottom line of what you want to do and what you want the CRM for. And this seems specifically designed for that. So I'm giving you a virtual gold star right now. But I know you have a gift. You have a gift for our listeners. So would you share details of your gift?
Yes, I'm delighted to make the usage of OnePageCRM available to your listeners. So we'd like to offer a 60-day trial to When Device Salesology, the listeners of the podcast. And this way, you don't have to worry about how many days you have left. You can be, enjoying the experience and, really invest into a solution that is designed to help you to run the business, but also to grow the business. So yes, you can go to our website, www.onepagecrm.com, and create a trial over there. It's free. There's no commitment. Just check it out and see if it can help your business.
And that is huge. We will put the link to the 60-day trial in the show notes. So as soon as you finish listening to the podcast, go to the show notes, click on the link. But that 60 days is really huge because a lot of other companies that give trials, they give you a couple of weeks, maybe they give you 3 weeks. So this is 2 months, 60 days. So that's really huge. And we're
generous. I think small business, they really need support. And so, for us, it's more important that it really makes a difference, when you start with a new tool. And we do understand there's this initial hurdle, as you say, a little bit uncertainty, that people don't want to move to a different solution, and they're afraid that, the rest of their business is going to stop. So that's why we want to be, generous with the time, and, in your own time, you can just go in and discover.
Yeah, so even if you need 2 hours to get started, you've got plenty of time.
That's right.
And where can people find you, Gosia? We're going to put the OnePageCRM, we're going to put your website in the show notes as well. So finish listening to the podcast, go to the show notes, click on the link. Where else can people find you if they want to connect?
Yeah, please connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd be delighted to, ask me any questions if you need any more information, and I can help you with. Send me a message and connect with me on LinkedIn.
Okay. So we will also put the link to Gosia's LinkedIn profile. We will put that in the show notes. So as soon as you finish listening to this podcast, go to the show notes, click on the link. And thank you all for listening today to the Salesology Conversations with Sales Leaders podcast with my very special guest, Gosia FitzGerald, who is a co-founder of OnePageCRM. And if you have found value in listening to today's podcast, then please think about one business owner, one entrepreneur, one sales professional, sales leader, somebody that that you think might also find value in listening to this podcast. And please do share the link with them. And until we meet again, visualize yourself surrounded by cash, really large bills.
You've been listening to Salesology, Conversations with Sales Leaders, the art of faster, easier, more profitable sales. Be sure to follow so that you don't miss a single episode. And while you're at it, please leave a rating and review, and be sure to share it with your friends. Tune in every week for more exciting insights and wisdom on transforming sales. And until next time, visualize yourself surrounded by cash, very large bills.